possible. Yeah, there was Farm Sim 19's the Old Stream farm. You could demolish the buildings you didn't want, but you got the farm in all modes. But there were some others where you got the farm in New Farmer, or you got empty plots of land, but you had access to all of his buildings were construction objects in the store. So you can take a look at the yard, see what it looks like, and then build it in the harder modes. Anyway, let's get back to the field, empty the harvester, and I didn't look how much we transported. Oh, we're up to 116,000 already. So yeah, that big BGA is definitely creating money for us. So I don't know. I think, I mean, both those BGAs, you've got the can't remember. Let's go construction. Production. There's the industrial BGA somewhere. Oh, the mini biogas plant, and then you've got this one, the industrial. They have massive storage facilities, but their production rate is so high that you have to fill them up every day. Okay. Yeah, see, I mean, obviously I've kept the map up to date, but since I started it almost right at the beginning of release, that's kind of, where's the dude? I haven't been able to see what the farms look like with nothing in them. But I do appreciate that, being able to do that. Why aren't you... There you go. Follow the class tree on, plot your course, and we are empty. Yeah, and that's the thing I think some map makers miss, is being able to provide the buildings that you've used on the map. And for me, it's also being able to use the buildings in the style that's on the map, because you know, if I use buildings by different modders, it's sort of the architecture's all over the place. Now, yeah, I'll admit that does happen in real life, but it's sort of, I kind of like yards where all the buildings look similar architecture, because in general they were built by the same people or the same corporation over the course of many years. It's going to be interesting, I will say that. But yeah, it kind of the early on thing in Farming Simulator, where I'm playing a British map, but unfortunately the only barns I can get are red American barns, and it just doesn't look right on an English map. That's kind of where I'm getting to there. So having the ability to place buildings that look regionally correct is It just makes the experience a little bit more realistic, I think. But, I might do the new farmer and then sell half the equipment, rebuy half the equipment, and edit the thing, but. And again, yes, for the most part, I think in some cases, if you've got a tired, rundown building in the yard that was built out of stone and originally had a thatched roof, and it's now, 2023, and you're going to end up with something that is more concrete and steel beams, and kind of like Tom Pemberton's farm in real life, where he's got the older sheds on the farm which were built years ago at prevailing technology, and you look at all the sheds he's building today. All the sheds he's building today look the same architecture, but they are definitely different from the sheds that they're replacing because they were built in a different era. But but you can see the progression of engineering that happened. I mean, one of the other things I do is model railways, and I look at some people just build a train set, track everywhere, no rhyme or reason to what they're doing. Others try and base it on something that resembles real life. It's not based on anywhere specific, but it resembles real life. And you look at them, and sometimes they're missing things, and it's sort of, there's something missed here. But it's only, I model things from the 1930s. Back in the 1930s, pretty much every station had a freight yard, even if the freight yard was 2 tracks with enough room for half a dozen freight cars. And that's all fine, but by the 1970s, most of those freight yards were gone, even if the station's still there, and they're only supporting passenger traffic. But the freight yard used to be there, so maybe there's a section of ripped up, evidence of ripped up track, or there's a Tesco's in the freight yard. But you can still see the evidence of it being there, even though it's not there today. And I think sometimes the modelers who are doing these sorts of things forget that the train didn't appear with the hills perfectly formed around them. The hills were perfectly formed, and the engineers came in and demolished everything to make way for the train. And also the engineers made the infrastructure for what they needed at the time, and as that need changed, things got removed. This is bad, but we'll make the most of it, I guess. But it then boils down to, I appreciate modelers who think about things like that, and maybe make a nod to history while not actually going in depth to, we're going to have falling down buildings and all the rest of it. No, normally those buildings were removed physically and replaced with a Tesco's. It's kind of like where I used to live in Harlow. There used to be an extensive freight yard over the back. That extensive freight yard is gone, replaced with an industrial estate with a whole bunch of light manufacturing. But there's still evidence closer to the railroad tracks where they didn't. Oh, I'm going to have to do this. Oops. Oh, that's gone. That's gone a little badly. Let's try that one again. But yeah, there's evidence of stuff that used to be there that is completely gone now. I mean, you could say the same with Clarkson's farm. He built the sheep shed new, I think, but the shed he's using for his restaurant is a very old build. And I kind of, yeah. It's sort of interesting to look at, I think. Okay, I guess I can put this back on cruise control as we try and get this all lined up again. Anyway, how are we doing? We're coming up to midday. It's probably time I thought about lunch and stuff. There's the truck. We're doing okay here. So all the barley we produce off this field and the next barley field are all going to go down to the farmers market, because we've got 2 contracts of barley needed to go there. The wheat harvest also needs to go there. So we'll ship all of this barley, and then we'll be very careful with the next barley contract and just ship what's needed, because I want to save some for us. Oh, and the harvester needs a service. Well, that's a thing. I suppose I could run by the store and get that done once we finish this, because the last 2 contracts are over on the southwestern side of the map, so we're going to have to go near the store anyway. What are we on? We are on episode 65. As I said, I'm planning to finish this series off with, we'll finish all the harvesting that we need to do. I may rush and not do as many contracts as I normally would think about doing, and try and aim for about maybe episode 70. It may mean that I'm skipping a number of months as we go here, because obviously we're in July, probably going to end up in around December at the end, because that's when our grains sell. But we, as normal, I can skip I can skip bits of December. How's the track? Okay, we're nearly full here, so I'm going to have to be very, very careful with how we do this bit. That should be good. Yay. We'll find the John Deere. Oops. But yeah, typically once we've got through to November, typically the next stopping point on the year is March. And the only thing that's happening in December is the mad scramble to try and keep the cows fed. Okay, how are we doing here? We got 17, 20. I do not have enough room in the cart to take everything, or take another full load from the harvester. How is this looking? I don't think we're going to get another full load from the harvester anyway, so yeah, that's okay. What I'm trying to do here is make sure I don't end up with a split of crop so that I have to pass this area twice. At worst, there'll be a small straggling row on one side or the other. But if we can, I would like to get as much of this as possible. Looks like it widens to the left at the end of here, so that's gonna be an issue for me. So I'm going to bias myself this side. And I think I'm going to have a similar problem with that last patch of barley up on the left there. But we're good. Has a hotel, and yeah. But the thing I've noticed with railways is they are incredibly enduring. Even if today they've become a cycle track, the bridges, unless they're dangerous, remain for decades because they were built to last in those days. And the embankments and cuttings and tunnels, they're never destroyed. So you can be walking around and just see a bridge and an embankment on each side of it in the middle of a field, because that's where the train line used to go. And nobody's got the time or energy to remove it because the benefit of removing it is so far removed. However, where I live now in Michigan, this city used to have, I want to say, about 5 railroads running through the city in different directions. And in some places you can see the evidence of those railroad lines, that there's no railroad line, there's a cycle track. There's bridges over it, there's bridges under it, but it's gone. And in other places, new industrial development, there's zero evidence left that anything used to be there. But it's kind of interesting. Down where my wife comes from, there used to be a railroad line that ran along the bottom. That's now a cycle track or nature walk or whatever. And where housing has been built, obviously there's no evidence. Surprisingly, there's still evidence on the high street where the tracks used to run, because they didn't take the tracks up, they just slapped a mound of tarmac over the top of it. So if you drive really fast down the high street, you may go airborne because they didn't demolish everything. Okay, we have a good number of bales here, and I don't have anywhere to sell them. So okay, that is 7,000 litres. Raise that up. And Class Arian has just made it to a very convenient position. Get that loading. Honestly, not sure that we have the capacity for all of that barley. So I might drive down the roads partially full.
Mommy?
How many are there? How many are there?
3.
Good.
And I'll just do a little bit of tidying up. I'll probably end up with more than 28 bales again, so I can always take them back to my yard, or I can take them on the trailer down to the BGA and then stock it up as it makes room. Oh, missed. I think for now, it's gone midday. I should probably call it here. I'll probably finish off the 2 contracts that we have left to do. And then we'll come back next week, possibly in the fall, or possibly on July 3, and we'll get the stuff, the whole crop done. So we have some food for the cows in the robot. And then, depending how long that takes us, and that shouldn't take us that long. It's mowing and running a follow me with the bale wrapper, or baler wrapper. Which is fine. Okay. And if I do that towards the end of the day, if we finish it, we can skip through to August, and we may have something else to harvest on our farm. Again, not sure where we're up to on those now. Okay, the harvester still has 4,700 litres in it.
Hey, do we have no!
I got your direct caustic back there.
Okay, that's done.
Don't let them make lunch for the kids.
Oh,
Just wait.
The door open.
No, because that's going to be mine.
and I'll take the one on the right because it's longer. Alrighty, we'll call that good enough. Squeak. Stop. And harvester. Not harvester. Yeah, take care. Thanks for popping by.
There's no the door being closed. If you turn it out.
Yeah, there is. Talking of setting up tabbing between vehicles, there was a mod back in 17 which allowed you to set up vehicle lists. And you could, I think it was shift tab to switch which list you were on, and then tab to shift to another. Come on, drop. Thank you. Another piece of equipment, which was really nice because I could set up all of my harvesters on one, all of my tractors on another. And if you've only got 3 tractors, you just tab between the 3 tractors. If I want to tab to a telehandler, I switch to the telehandler group and then tab between all of those. These days you've got the parking mod, which allows you to set a vehicle to park so it doesn't tab automatically. And I may look at something like that. Anyway, let's get this transferred down to wherever it is it needs to go. And we'll unload that, and then we'll call it a day, as I said. We'll be back next week with stuff. Likes and follows, comment, all the things. Oh, crash. And if you have a suggestion for equipment on Glenleathan, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and I will put it into consideration. As I said, we're probably going to be limited to 300 horsepower-ish. Yeah, 305, 310, 295. Yeah, that sort of area. So equipment that we use will be similarly lightweight. I kind of want to use different things than we've used on this series. I don't mind going back to stuff we've used in previous series, because frankly I can't remember what we used in previous series. But we'll pull in here. Get that tipped. And as I said, I hope everyone has a good week and a good weekend. And we'll be back next week. But for now, I think, do a quick check on the contracts. We are not complete there. I need to deliver the barley. This barley has delivered 8,900. This barley has delivered everything, and we haven't started the field because it's 29. Okay. So that's where we sit at the moment. We have 2 active barley contracts that can't be completed yet. But for right now, I think I'm out of here. Have fun, everybody.